Firefighters working in Fallbrook, Calif, on Thursday. Wildfires have burned more than 100,000 acres in Los Angeles and Ventura counties. Gregory BullAssociated Press Want to get this briefing by email. Here's the sign up. Good morning. Here's what you need to know. Defiant Franken to resign, calling it the worst day of his political life. Senator Al Franken, Democrat of Minnesota, announced on Thursday that he would step down, even as he denied accusations of UAL misconduct. Here's video and a transcript of his speech. Hours later, Representative Trent, Republican of Arizona, also resigned, becoming the third member of Congress this week to step down over claims of impropriety. Representative John Conyers Jr., a Michigan Democrat, quit on Tuesday. In taking a firm stand, Democrats appear determined to seize the moral high ground. But some say the party risks shooting itself in the foot. I think there's a sense of political correctness, and that we're holier than thou, a former aide to Mr. Franken said. Separately, the conductor James Levine called accusations that he abused several men decades ago unfounded. Southern California keeps burning. Armed with sprinklers and garden hoses, residents fought to save their homes as wildfires continued to scorch the hills in and around Los Angeles. More than 200,000 people had to evacuate on Thursday, and the main coastal freeway north of the city was closed. Here are maps of the fires. We spoke to scientists about drought and deluge in California, and why the cycle might become more frequent. Later this morning, our California Today newsletter will have the latest updates. What future for a two-state solution? President Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel is a severe blow to Palestinian hopes for a separate state. Although Mr. Trump said the U.S. still supported the idea, the chief Palestinian negotiator now favors a single state with equal civil rights. We spoke to 11 former U.S. ambassadors to Israel, and all but 2 said the president's plan was dangerous. The Israeli police and military bolstered their security today in anticipation of additional Palestinian protests. At the White House Hanukkah party on Thursday, President Trump said, "I know for a fact there are a lot of happy people in this room," adding simply, Jerusalem. Democratic lawmakers were not invited to the event, according to congressional aides. Doug Mills. The New York Times. A breakthrough on Brexit. Overcoming months of deadlock, Britain and the European Union cleared the way today to begin negotiations on trade relations after Britain's departure, scheduled for March 2019. Brexit supporters once said that Britain would have the upper hand in talks, but Prime Minister Theresa May has made nearly all of the concessions so far. U.S. government shutdown is averted. Check back in 2 weeks. The Daily. Al Franken and the Democrats. Listen on a computer, an iOS device or an Android device. Business. The U.S. economy added 228,000 jobs in November, the Labor Department announced today. The unemployment rate remained unchanged at 4.1%. Renewable energy in the U.S. is largely sustained by favorable tax treatment. The Republican tax plan would scale that back. What happened to the American boomtown? The places with the most opportunity used to attract the most new residents. No longer. The price of Bitcoin has surged in the past 2 months. Here's why. U.S. stocks were up on Thursday. Here's a snapshot of global markets. Smarter living tips, both new and old, for a more fulfilling life. A gingerbread house is easier to build than you might think. How to choose the best apps for your children. Recipe of the day. Gather the family for fish taco night. Noteworthy 7 new wonders. Machu Picchu. In today's 360 video, visit the ancient Incan settlement in Peru, almost 8,000 feet above sea level. It's part of our series about the sites selected in 2007 as additions to the original 7 Wonders of the World. Partisan writing you shouldn't miss. Writers from across the political spectrum discuss Al Franken's resignation, a wrenching decision. In the 1960s, a white couple adopted a black girl, but then decided to send her back and to adopt a white girl. Decades later, the 2 women's journeys tell a nuanced story of race in America. Amy Roost left, and Angel Smith. Ms. Roost's parents brought Angel home as a baby, but decided not to keep her. Jenna Schoenfeld for the New York Times. Ready for the weekend? Spend some time with the best of 2017, as Selected by our critics from S to television, books to albums, dance performances to the 54 best S. Find even more in our Year in Review. One of our very lucky reporters spoke to the cast of Star Wars: The Last Jedi before its release next week. Here's a transcript and answers to 6 questions about the space saga, The Crown. Netflix's drama about the life of Queen Elizabeth II returns today for its 2nd season. We have a refresher on Season 1, and a review of the new episodes. And one of our critics was in South Florida this week for Art Basel Miami Beach, America's premier contemporary art entrepot and air-kissing arena. Here's his review. Best of late-night TV, several. The comedy hosts address Senator Al Franken's departure. The Democrats are draining their swamp. Republicans are installing a jungle gym in Roy Moore's new office, Trevor Noah said, quotation of the day, "I forgive you, and I pray for you that you will repent and let Jesus come into your life. Just as you are, he will forgive you." Judy Scott, at the sentencing of Michael Slager, the South Carolina police officer who killed her son, Walter Scott. Backstory: Jerry Garcia once said the Grateful Dead was like licorice. Not everybody likes licorice, but the people who like licorice really like licorice. The Grateful Dead broke up on this day in 1995, 4 months after the guitarist and vocalist's death. And after playing more than 2,300 concerts over 30 years. The Grateful Dead at Madison Square Garden in New York City in 1979, one of the group's more than 2,300 concerts. Associated Press: even Mr. Garcia may have underestimated how long hard love for the band would last, or how it would evolve, as seen in a trip through the Times archives. In a 1973 article, The Grateful Dead makes a real good hamburger, our reporter called the band experts in the art and science of showing people another world. Another Times writer liked the band's feathery locomotive groove. Our coverage wasn't always approving in just what the tie-dyed crowd wanted. From 1989, we noted that Grateful Dead shows are as iffy as blind dates, and this year we referred to the band's history as a 30-year hippie Brit soap opera. More recently, the Dead have been praised as business pioneers. They favored the now common formula of prioritizing touring over selling records, and were first to encourage fans to make and trade concert recordings. In 2015, the remaining members reunited for Fare Thee Well shows. The average ticket price for some of them was $938. Charles McDermott contributed, reporting, ________. Your morning briefing is published weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern and updated all morning. Browse past briefings here. If photographs appear out of order, please download the updated New York Times app from iTunes or Google Play. What would you like to see here? Contact us at briefing@nytimes.com. You can get the briefing delivered to your inbox Sunday through Friday. We have 4 global editions, timed for the Americas, Europe, Asia, and Australia, and an evening briefing on weeknights. Check out our range of free newsletters here. Follow Chris Stanford on Twitter @Stanford.